یعنی یه دونه آنو من کرمم گرفت زدم این همه راه اومدم. یه آف میزدم بازی تمام میشه. بریم برای استارت. never end. خب
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
پشمام.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
حرف تو رو یعنی بود گوش کنیم، یعنی باید میرسم شب میرم راست ببینم چی
This was
میشه.
not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, but eager to get back to business. Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Oh.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
نمیشه رفت پایین. دیرونم ماشاءالله معلوم نیست.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Oh.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
چشم باز شد. خب
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
نه برفیش نمیکنم.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death. The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
برمیگردم. بکنم راست میگفت. آخ.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise. Farewell, Stanley.
When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same.
این دفعه سعی میکنم گوش کنم
All
تو
of
چی
his
میگی.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
میریم اتاق چپ. در سمت چپ. خب اون هم مسیر اومدیم از اونجا اومدیم اینجا دیگه.
Yet there was not a single person here either. its purpose be? Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that
سرقب که از اون رفتیم مردیم.
facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers.
خب مسیر باز شد. یکم خیلی زیاد گیج شدم.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
فرار کنیم باید خاموش کنیم ولی
Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself? Is that what you wanted? Control? That something in this room was capable of turning it
هیچ
on.
کاری رسما نمیتونم بکنم، فقط باید وایسم تایم تمام شه.
From the moment
سه،
we fade in
دو،
until the moment I say,
یک.
happily ever up.
وای بریم
Coming to
پایین
the
چی میشه؟
staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished.
وای خدا افتادیم توی لوپ. فکر کنم نزدیک 20 دور توی این لوپ گشتم، هیچ اتفاق خاصی نیفتاد. میبریم چی میشه؟ بس رو هیچی نمیشه. خیلی خوب.
Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets, the keypad. But here was the proof. The heart of the
خب یه
operation.
دقیقه ساکت شو. همه اون مسیری که تا اینجا اومدیم و دوباره اومدم در چپ و اونور اتاق رئیسش و آسانسوری که میاد پایین تا اینجا. واقعا هیچ ایده‌ای دوباره ندارم که باید چیکار کنم. خب سری قبل اینو آنش کردیم، این دفعه آفش کنیم. این فرق میکنه یا نه؟
Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine. Unshackled himself from someone else's command.
تمام شد.
Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened,
تمام
where
شد.
had his co-workers gone? But as
اوه
sunlight
یعنی میشد
streamed
اینو
into the chamber,
آفشو زد
he
یه ساعت
realized
راه
none of
نرفت.
this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool
آزادی.
breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation,
آزادی.
the immense possibility of the new path before him.
چقدر
This was
کوتاه بود
exactly
بازی.
the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
لودینگ دوباره برای چی بود؟ وای 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 وای. آقا فکر کنم تمام شده، من دوباره باید برم. یعنی فکر کنم بازی رو تمام کردیم. فکر کنم منو اسکول کرده باشه، دوباره دارم یه مسیری میرم که بازی تمام کردم بعد.
Stanley thought to himself, did he have the strength? Yes.
خب بازی تمام شد، کوتاه‌تر از اون چیزی که بود که فکر میکردم و این مسیر رو ما بازی تمام کردیم، دوباره شروع کردیم اومدیم. اگه همچین بازی دوست دارید انجام بدم تو کامنتا بهم بگید. اگه لایک های بازی زیاد بشه مثل همین بازی فکر کنم یه مدل دیگه هم بود انجام میدم. دوستتون دارم. خداحافظ.